Thank you for checking out Tea and a Buddy on YouTube. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello, and welcome to Tea and a Buddy with me, Dominic.
And me, Erica.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about a British tradition that's soothing and comforting. No, we're not talking about the hobnob. We're talking about the shipping forecast.
Oh my god, please. And do we have to talk like this for the entire episode?
Yes, we do.
No!
Okay. We'll get back to normal service has resumed anyway. So, if you don't know, the shipping forecast is basically a forecast of like the weather for ships around Great Britain, the Isles of Britain and the British Isles, basically.
Yeah.
It's something that's been a tradition since the BBC began, really. I mean, before that, it was published in newspapers.
It's done by the BBC?
It's done by the BBC on behalf of the Met Office, which is
Okay.
the meteorological office.
Oh, okay. Not the Metropolitan
Not
Police.
the Metropolitan Police, no. Not the Met. There's several Mets in Britain, but the Met Office is the weather forecasting.
It should be the Meat Office.
Why is it the Meat Office?
If it's for meteorological.
Yes, but you don't spell it MEAT,
So?
do you?
It's pronounced like...
The Meat Office is something different. It's where you go buy your meat, innit? Or where you go meet someone.
That would be MEET.
Well, exactly. But anyway, if you're British, you'll know all about this.
Yeah, we have to put a little disclaimer in that I know nothing about this.
It's something that's very traditionally British.
I only first
and
heard...
it's been going for decades, centuries even.
I only first heard about it like a couple years ago, literally like 2 years ago, even though I've known you for like forever.
No, when you were over in Britain, now this is where we differ on this. When you were over in Britain, I remember turning on the radio and it was on, and it comes on at around midnight. And I think you were just
Never happened.
And you were just kind of like, what's this? What's that? Or something like that. And I was just like, oh, it's the shipping forecast.
What?
And you were like, what's that? Oh, what's the shipping forecast? And I briefly explained what it was.
All right, so what is it? Just tell me again.
Well, I've told everyone.
Oh.
You weren't listening, obviously.
I was listening. Oh, yes. I remember.
What is it then?
It gives the forecast for the ships around the islands.
Yes.
Yes.
The weather forecast.
And it's done for people who like meat.
No.
Or something.
Nothing to do with meat, anybody.
Okay, tell us all about it.
It's a very serious subject, you know.
Sorry.
Because I'm going to go back to... Let me take you back to 1859.
Okay. Please
when
do.
Admiral Robert Fitzroy was sitting at home in London reading his barometer, and seeing that the air pressure had dropped, he knew there was a storm coming.
Are you reading this off of Wikipedia?
No, I wrote this specially for this episode.
Okay, please continue.
But with no way to warn anyone, there was nothing he could do. As a result, the ship, the Royal Charter, which was on the last leg of its journey from Australia to Liverpool... I thought you were laughing then. You're laughing at me doing my narration here.
No.
Sorry about that. Continuing. The Royal Charter, which was on the last leg of its journey from Australia to Liverpool, where had like miners aboard who'd been doing the Australian gold mines and stuff, so it was a lot of rich people, I'm presuming.
This was in when?
1859. And it sunk off the Anglesey coast, and over 450 lives were lost. And he felt bad, Fitzroy, because he knew there was a storm coming, but he had no way to warn anyone about this. I mean, he could predict the weather in a sense, so he could save lives at sea. And he was like, so on the basis of that guilt and, you know, all that, he devoted his life to predicting the weather forecast, you know, to save lives at sea. He commanded the HMS Beagle, which on its second voyage took Charles Darwin around the Galapagos Islands.
Yeah.
And so he was quite famous, Fitzroy, and he pretty much founded the Met Office as we know it, today. Well, not as we know it today, but,
Again, not the Metropolitan
Not
Police.
the Metropolitan Police,
Okay.
the Meteorological Office, the weather people. And, he started using telegraph technology to, do his reports around Britain, because he was very good with barometers and, it was very interesting to him, how low pressure meant, there's going to be a storm or whatever, and he didn't want to call them, prophecies or predictions, because he didn't want people to think, it's witchcraft. How's he doing this,
Oh, yeah.
Because, in that time, everybody thought, if you predicted something was going to happen, it's a witch, burn him! So he called them forecasts. And, at first, when they started being printed in the newspaper, all the readers was like, oh, yeah, he's predicting the weather. What's this all about, It's like, nobody can predict the weather. It's going to rain. We don't know when it's going to rain. But sailors and fishermen came to depend on them because he was always right. He was accurate with, there's going to be a squall here or whatever,
Yeah.
There's going to be a storm coming in on this side or whatever. And when the BBC started up, they started the shipping forecast, and it's been going since the BBC's inception, I think. I think it was first on Radio 1 and then the Light programme or whatever, but now it's always on Radio 4.
Oh, yeah.
Which is where everybody goes to live now. The archers and stuff like that. It's very much kind of like Gardener's Question Time. It's very much like it's kind of like PBS in Britain.
Okay, right.
Or NPR or whatever, It's like a lot of gentle programming for the older person.
Right.
Of which there are many. But, in the kind of intervening years, it became such a kind of it kind of developed a cult following, even with people who had no idea what it was about.
Yeah, this is what I've heard about it. That people turn it on.
People turn it on to go to sleep. Because it's kind of got this kind of it's weird. If you turn it on, it's like, what are these people talking about? And now the shipping forecast on behalf of the Met Office from the BBC. And then they start saying things like, Humber, Thames, southeast veering, southwest. 4 or 5, occasionally 6 later. Thundery showers. Moderate or good, occasionally poor. Tyne, Dogger, northeast 3 or 4. Occasional rain, moderate or poor. And it's like,
what in the crap
and
does
it's
that
like
mean?
it's code. It's like,
Yeah.
And funnily enough, during the Second World War, I don't think they did it because it kind of sounds like code.
Yeah.
And it could be easy to for codes for spies and stuff. So if the Germans were listening in, they'd think, this is a code of some kind. We've got to decipher this. What are they talking about? But places like the Met Office named all the regions in the forecast after islands, coastal towns and sandbanks. And there's one region called Rockall, which is literally just a rock sticking out of the ocean with which seagulls land on. It's like regions around the thing. I mean, I have to show you, I have to pull up a map and show you, but I haven't got that. But it's all around, it's all regions around, and they've got names like Dogger, Humber, Lundy, Viking, and the German Bight is kind of northwest Europe, around Germany and Holland and stuff,
Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of developed this cult following.
Right.
With people who are just kind of, it's kind of rhythmic gentleness.
Yeah, what was it? We were reading something or we saw something somewhere where someone said that they put it on, the only way they can get their baby to go to sleep is by putting on the shipping forecast.
People, online now, right? People have got all the collected, because it's every day.
Yeah.
They've collected I don't know, hundreds of shipping forecasts and strung them together for 3 hours of the shipping forecast. And, they just turn it on before they go to bed and then they fall asleep to it, Kind of it's kind of like ASMR.
Oh, right.
To people, it's like an early version of that. Maybe ASMR, And there's people who like, oh, it's really comforting because, I'm just lying in bed at night and I turn it on. And it's fun to think that I'm lying cozy in bed and the ship's out there listening to it, on the high seas that are like, oh, better watch out or whatever,
Yeah.
And I'm just here in bed listening to it too,
Right.
And it's like people, only sailors can know what it's about.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of...
Because, like, Humber Thames.
Well, Thames is a river.
Right. What's Humber, though?
The Humber is a river, too. I think the River Humber. Dogger, I think that's kind of like a sandbank.
Okay.
Viking, that's going to be up near Norway. That kind of, like, region.
Right.
It's just around. And Biscay, and then there was, like, Finisterre, but they renamed that Fitzroy in honor of Admiral Fitzroy. And there was like an outcry about that. There was actually questions raised in Parliament when the BBC wanted to move the timing of the broadcast of the shipping forecast for like 12 minutes. And like people made a big outcry and it was like, oh yeah, we've got to send this to Parliament now, It's like...
Oh my God, only in Britain.
Only in Britain that kind of thing would happen. And it's more recently, it's kind of come... Olivia Colman, who's going to be playing Queen Elizabeth II.
Oh, right.
She says, during the more emotional scenes during The Crown, I've got to, like, keep in character as the Queen, because, she's very stoic, the Queen. She doesn't really show emotion. Right. She's cool, collected.
Yeah.
And the only way I could do that is with an earpiece in my ear listening to the shipping forecast to kind of, like, calm me down. That's what she says, it's just like, it's to keep my emotions in check,
That's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like, it's very strange, really, really. It's kind of like one of those cult things, like maybe the canal boats and stuff like that, I mean, they won't need the shipping forecast or anything like that, but, it's like a very, if the shipping forecast stopped, they stopped doing the shipping forecast, because... Basically, I think they can now because of technology and stuff like that.
Say. There's no real reason it should be on the radio where.
Sorry.
There's no real reason it should be on the radio where everybody can hear it, right? I mean, at this point, it should just be like something that's available just to people on ships that like.
I mean, originally,
that they can tune into.
That really, yes, but it was like the BBC's kind of like. Transmitter or whatever would let it go out to the fishermen and the sailors or whoever was coming in, whoever was in range of the broadcast.
Right.
And, everybody can tune into the BBC. So
how long does it run?
It's like,
is it
I
just
think it's
like a weather forecast?
It's like a
news program?
It's just like a weather forecast, yeah.
Okay.
I think it only runs like maybe 3 minutes, something like that. I don't know exactly how long.
Yeah.
But they do one at midnight and they do one in the morning.
Yeah.
And, it's just kind of like been one of those quirky things. Like we were watching something recently.
Is it live or is it recorded or do you know?
It's recorded. Yeah, I think it's recorded.
Yeah.
And, you've got an announcer who just announces it and just goes, do, 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 do. And, they do it kind of like in that way. I think, there was an announcer who was doing it for like 40 years. I think his name was Peter Jefferson, maybe. He doesn't do it. He recorded, actually, funnily enough. He left the BBC, and now a variety of people do the shipping forecast. Mm-hmm. But for like that, there's a sleep app. He recorded like a version of the shipping forecast for that sleep app for people to go to sleep to.
That's so funny.
I guess people were just like, oh, I just turn on the shipping forecast and I'm out like a light, because it's just kind of like so, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, and I mean, because it does sound like code or something, there's no like real sentence for you to focus on.
Yeah, it's very there's kind of like it's nautical as well. Veering means like it's talking about the wind.
Yeah,
the wind is and backing. 405 is like the I guess the rate of the gale force or whatever.
Yeah.
Thundery showers and all that kind of stuff. It's very gentle and nice. And, I mean, people in other countries would not get it.
Well, I wonder if
And it's just kind of like it's become so ingrained in British tradition now that, you know, it can't go away.
Yeah.
It's just one of the weird things that makes you British, you know. It's like,
I
you grew up with the shipping forecast, you know.
Yeah.
Or you've heard it.
I wonder if anything similar exists anywhere else. I mean, surely it does. Other countries have ships, you know?
Yeah. Because, I mean, Britain's got an island with a very, pretty much all of its history is mostly maritime, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I mean, it's just that kind of thing. It's just very nice to fall asleep to, I think. You know, it's just, oh, yes, you know, so maybe ASMR, you know, and all that kind of stuff, people crinkling things and all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of, just the monotony of this kind of like report, and it means absolutely nothing. It sounds like gibberish, you know, like Humber, Thames, Southeast veering southwest. Yeah, I mean, only sailors can decode it.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to it on the thing, you know, it's like, what is this, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been going for decades now.
I think it's hilarious how British people think that this might get ugly, actually.
It's getting ugly, people.
I don't want to word this.
She's getting ugly about British people.
I don't want to word this like
stiff upper lips.
No, how British people sometimes criticize Americans for hanging on to the past. Let's say, you know, I can't think of a specific example, but they kind of go on about.
You mean talking about like the Revolutionary War or something?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, something like that.
Whereas
that's a good
in Britain,
example.
It's very rarely taught. People don't even really know that much about it. You know, really.
Yeah, and if you ever go to Britain, the younger generation particularly is not so into like in America, antiques and vintage stuff is really big all the time. In Britain, it's not so much with the younger generation, that is. I'd say they like modern things. They want things to look sleek and
modern. And
modern, yeah, glass. We don't want all this like old furniture from, you know, if I'm going to go in a castle in a museum and see that, I don't want to have it in my house, you know. Whereas in America, we go to antique malls and we want to have all of that kind of stuff. I guess it's probably because our history doesn't date back as far, you know, as a country. I mean, of course there were people here, but we won't get into that now, will we?
That's for another episode.
But at the same time, Britain is very clings very tightly to tradition and is very like, oh no, we can't get rid of that, you know. And so to me it's hilarious that people want to get rid of the royal family, let's say.
Yeah.
I understand the reasons for it. But it's just never going to happen, is it? Because you guys love your tradition. I mean, you're throwing a fit when the shipping forecast is going to be moved by a few minutes, you know?
How dare you move the shipping forecast a few minutes? It's been that time since time immemorial. You know, I mean, you could say that kind of thing, yeah, we do cling to our past and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's very... You know, it's very it's kind of like sitting with the modern. It's like, you know, if you go around London, people always say that, oh, it's like melding the modern with the antique, you know, with the old with the new. And it's kind of like this weird kind of like marriage, because you don't really see that unless you're up in like New England or something. You'll see... In America,
oh,
yeah.
Yeah, no.
In Texas, pretty much everything's modern. It was built in the last 15 years, you know, or something, you know?
Yeah.
If something from the 1980s, it's like, ooh, look at this architectural piece from the 1980s.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, that's kind of, to me in Britain, you know, it's like if something's still there from because, you know, usually it's kind of like from the last 10 years or from the last 200 years, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, if you see something like, I don't know, in London anyway, I'm going to stick to London here with the train stations. You know, you've got like King's Cross, you've got Victoria.
Right.
They're all Isambard, Kingdom Brunel design stations. You know, they all have that Victorian Industrial Revolution look to them.
Yeah.
And, you know, they all look old and stuff. And then you've got Euston Station, which was knocked down. Or I guess it might have been bombed during the war, actually. And it looks like it was built in the 1960s. You know, it's all very, like, blah, blah, blah. You know, it looks very...
Yeah.
Looks very blah.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, you know, it's just kind of like that kind of thing. The tradition in Britain is very much like, oh, we're holding on to that. You know?
Yeah. If we can keep it, we're going to.
If we can keep it, we're going to, and we're going to work with it right now. Whereas, like, it's kind of different, I guess, over here, where they're just like, oh, just get rid of it and get a new one.
Yeah.
You know? We're not really holding on to it.
I'm trying to think if we have anything like the shipping forecast. I mean, we don't, that I know of, like
well,
the shipping
in
forecast.
Texas, no.
But
I just
mean just anything in general that Americans would miss, that Americans could first of all agree that this is something we love and it's very unique to us, and you know, we don't want it touched, you know. And I can't just off the top of my head think of anything.
No, I mean, well, I can't, obviously. I mean, I couldn't really say. I mean, you
compared BBC 4 to like NPR. First of all, I'd say probably more than half Americans don't even listen to NPR. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, their fresh air segment or something like that. If somebody said, oh, let's get rid of that, you probably wouldn't. You would hear probably NPR people go, no, we love that segment. You know, we want to keep that. We really enjoy that. But nobody else would care. You know,
there's probably people in Britain. I'm saying that, you know, like as a whole country. You know, there's probably people in Britain who wouldn't blink an eye if the BBC decided to stop doing the shipping forecast or anything like that. Do you think there's
British people out there that don't even know what the shipping forecast is?
Probably. I mean, they're probably going to be quite younger than me.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe I've got people who are older than me that have never heard of the shipping forecast. Shipping forecast, what's that?
Maybe because your dad was a sailor, wasn't he? So maybe that's why.
And we lived in coastal towns.
And your grandfather was a sailor during the war, so maybe that's why you know about it. Maybe you are just assuming.
Maybe I'm the only one in Britain who knows about it.
Maybe you were just assuming that everybody knows about it because you're relatively young-ish and know about it.
Young-ish. I'll have you know I'm very young.
I don't know. Maybe
I'm in the prime of life here.
We should put it out to the listeners to let us know. If you are British, let us know whether you know what the shipping forecast is.
Do you use it as a sleep aid?
And do you use it as a sleep aid?
Are you obsessed with it like that one character on As Time Goes By? That's just popped into my head now. I remember watching that show As Time Goes By with Judi Dench and Jeffrey Palmer, and there was one character on there she was obsessed with the shipping forecast. She was like, oh, shipping forecast all the time. And all the other characters were like, why is she obsessed with this so much? What is the deal there, you know?
Yeah.
And that was like a running joke. And
did you ever find out why she was so
I
obsessed?
I don't know. No, she was just obsessed with it, you know, and that was like her thing, you know. And I'm sure there's people out there who are like, they've got to get home because they've got to tune into the shipping forecast, you know, because it's like, oh, that's my thing, you know. You know, it is.
Oh, God. Sometimes I really wish we filmed these podcasts because his eyes literally roll back in his head when he said that.
It's my thing, the shipping forecast. Don't take away the shipping forecast.
No, but
it's the only thing I've got.
But yeah, so if you're British, let us know whether or not you know what the shipping forecast is and whether or not you use it as a sleep aid or why you like it.
Or are you just one of these people who really think it's a code and it's like a spy code and you're trying to like, oh.
Do those people really exist?
Probably.
There's probably some kind of
conspiracy theories. Oh,
somewhere.
that shipping forecast. Yeah, that's to all the spies. That's to the Russian spies. That is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the shipping forecast.
No, but I am also curious whether Anglophiles out there know what the shipping forecast is, because I'm always.
Any Anglophiles know what the shipping forecast is? Tell us about it.
Yeah, if you are non-British and yet you have heard of the shipping forecast, know about the shipping forecast, and maybe even, I don't know, is there some way that they can listen to Radio 4 online?
Yeah. All the BBC radio is free. BBC TV is not.
Right.
You can't watch it in Britain, outside of Britain.
So maybe there's people out there that even listen to BBC Radio 4 just to listen to the shipping forecast.
What time is it? Oh, it's 5:39 now. I think it comes on at midnight, so
it'll be on soon.
It'll be on soon, so tune in for the shipping forecast.
Yeah, but I'm always surprised at how much some Anglophiles know about Britain.
Yeah, I mean, because we meet some, and they're just kind of like, oh, I know about Doctor Who, I know about Downton Abbey, the Beatles, Harry Potter, all that kind of stuff, and that's about it.
Yeah.
It's like they don't know about the ship. What is the shipping forecast? What's all that about?
Yeah, but then there are some that, they're up on their canal knowledge, and they know all about narrowboats.
They know all about the narrowboats. They know the route, how to get from, Braunston to wherever,
Yeah, they know about Marmite and.
What's Marmite?
Yeah, so I'm always surprised about that. So if you are non-British and you know about the shipping forecast, let us know that as well, because I am interested to know. Because I never considered myself an Anglophile before I met you. I mean,
I've made her an Anglophile.
I didn't know.
She knows everything. She's more British than me now.
But so I didn't know about any of this, and like I said, I mean, you claim to have exposed me to the shipping forecast early on, but I don't.
I remember it. I remember it, and I think you weren't maybe not that interested at the time or whatever, But yes, I vaguely remember telling you about it back then. You just obviously didn't take it in.
It's all very interesting.
It's all very interesting. Yes, it's all very droll. But anyway,
yeah.
we're gonna move on from the shipping forecast.
Yeah, because I have a feeling that there may be some people like just listening and just waiting for us to stop talking so that they can find out how to gain a bonus entry into the giveaway we just posted yesterday.
The bonus entry to the giveaway.
And this is actually, we're recording this on Wednesday, so yesterday was Tuesday in our time, but it will have
This is kind of getting a bit like the shipping forecast again. Don't understand what you're talking about now.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, we posted a giveaway. If you follow us on social media, you will have seen that. We've posted it on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm going to get it on the website hopefully soon. But all you have to do is to follow us on one of our social media accounts. You do not have to follow us on all of them if you don't want to, but you are welcome to, and we appreciate you following us on all of them. But you have to follow us on one of them. I believe you have to like the giveaway post wherever you have seen it, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. You'll need to reply to the giveaway post, T for me, and tag 3 friends. So that is the way to get one entry into our giveaway. And our giveaway, if you do go on our social media or our website, is a bunch of British snacks that we've collected from various locations all around the state of Texas, and we're not exaggerating about that.
All around the states.
We've just been going to all the places and just like snatching them up. But anyway, we've collected them. We've got some Iron Brew, some Twinings tea, digestives, Jammy Dodgers.
We've got a Lion Bar.
Lion Bar, Yorkshire tea, fruit pastels.
Fruit pastels.
Some Monster Munch.
Oh, pickled onion. You can't beat it.
Walker's Crisps. Hula hoops.
Hula hoops.
I don't know. A bunch of stuff. I think there's like 15 different items. So go on there, check that out. Give us an entry. And if you listen to our podcasts from now until the day that the giveaway closes, which is
Halloween.
Yeah, midnight at Halloween. We are going to be giving you a way to get one bonus entry in each podcast up until Halloween.
Yeah.
So our podcasts come out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, every Tuesday and Thursday. And up until Halloween, we will tell you a way to get a bonus entry. So without further ado, today's bonus entry is to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Now, our YouTube channel...
It's a very sad YouTube channel. I will be uploading an actual video soon, but it's full of like our podcasts.
Don't say
like,
it's sad. It's not that sad.
Well, it's not.
It's kind of sad.
It's not fully developed yet.
No.
It's gonna be though, because I've shot a video in the British Emporium and I'm doing some narration for it, so
Yeah.
I'll be uploading that shortly. So look out for that.
Yes.
Fingers crossed for that, eh?
We are slowly uploading our podcasts on there. I don't know whether anybody's listening to them on YouTube, but just to have some content on YouTube, we're putting our podcasts on there. But we are going to have our first video, and hopefully we're going to start making more videos over time to also be uploaded on there. But if you want to give us a subscribe, it will get you a bonus entry into the giveaway. But if you do subscribe, be sure to DM us or tweet us or just send us a note on
send us a note. And, our YouTube is Tina Butty, so, just look for us on there, subscribe. Send us a note on there or on one of the videos or Facebook group or Twitter or Instagram. Right. You can, just tell us who you are and... how you relate to the giveaway entry and everything.
Right. Because oftentimes we've seen that people's YouTube names are not the same as their Twitter name, their Twitter handle, for example. So if you have already entered on Twitter and then you subscribe to us on YouTube and your names are different, we're not going to have any way to connect those. So you could leave us a comment on YouTube and tell us your Twitter name or your Instagram name or your Facebook name or whatever, or you can tweet us or Instagram us and let us know your YouTube.
DM us on Instagram or something,
Yeah.
saying you subscribed on YouTube and this is who I am.
Yeah.
And we'll enter you.
Yes, and when you follow, when you subscribe, all of that, you have to stay followed. You have to stay subscribed in order to win.
Forever.
Forever.
And you don't want to unsubscribe anyway because we're wonderful people.
No, and we've got all the great
content. We talk about things like
love.
shipping forecasts.
Yes.
Because you will love them.
Yes. You love it. So that is the way to enter, to get a bonus entry. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm becoming delirious now.
It's the shipping forecast.
That is today's bonus entry, to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We are Tina Butty.
We're Tina Butty, yeah.
If you can't find us by searching for Tina Butty, our YouTube link is on our website.
Yeah.
And you can get to it through social media as well if you need to. But
links everywhere.
Yes. So that's the way to enter, and I think we'll talk to you next time.
We'll talk to you next time with another bonus entry.
Yep. So be sure and listen to all the podcasts. All of them. All of them.
Not just one. All of them.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.